NFL's all-everything quarterback is entering the last year of his contract and is hoping for a new one. Aren't we all? Late yesterday, we learned that Russell set a date on when he wants said new contract, April 15th, just 12 days away. Also tax day. Also the day the Seahawks will begin their official off-season workout program. Big day all around. All right, Nick, what do you make of Russ imposing an early deadline?
It's really interesting because he imposed a deadline the last time he got a contract, and it was the start of training camp. And that went along with the way the Seahawks have always done business, which is they like to extend players who have a year left on their deal, if they're going to, after the draft, after free agency is fully closed, after they know what their team and their cap situation is. Russ is imposing this deadline before the draft. Russ has given him less than 2 weeks. And then if he were to stay true to his word, they would be in the franchise tag game with Russell Wilson. He would have them over a barrel contract-wise if his contract expires. He would be, if Russell Wilson were to become a free agent, he would be the most important free agent in NFL history. Reggie White's the best, but because of the quarterback position, like, he would be the best quarterback to ever hit free agency. So Russell is putting some pressure on them. And the precedent would be he's going to become the highest paid player in the history of football. He is a spectacular quarterback. He is an underrated quarterback somehow, at least in my eyes. I think he is, without question, one of the 5 best in the league. If I'm the Seahawks, I pay Russell Wilson $30+ million a year, and I'm happy to do it. But I also, if I do that, I have to look at how I run my team. My offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, who I felt last year when Russell was 20th in the league in pass attempts, when they ran that playoff game like they had Blake Bortles at quarterback, that when they couldn't run the ball, but they refused to pass the ball. If I'm going to spend 15 to 18% of my cap on a quarterback, I'm going to use him. And I think that the only reason you pay a quarterback like that is because you're going to use him. You can't pay him $35 million a year and say, be a game manager. Let one of the best quarterbacks in the league go win you football games if you're going to pay him, which I think they would. You can't let Russell Wilson walk.
Well, an offensive football team can't be run based on who you pay the most money. The way we're going to move the ball down the football field effectively is a collection of the talent we have in the room. So I can't, as a quarterback, I can't expect to get the most out of the quarterback if I have one of the worst offensive lines, which Seattle has had for the last 5 years. So for me, Pete Carroll and his style, for which it's not Brian Schottenheimer, it's Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll said, I'm going to play a style of football that I believe is effective. I believe I do have the quarterback, not only of the past Super Bowl success, but currently and into the future. So I believe right now, because what Seattle is going through was their owner passed away. So right now, the ownership of the team is in a little flux. It's in a trust with the family. So what they're going to do, I believe this slows down Russell. When you decide to get this kind of contract and you don't have the founder of the team there, I believe it makes it more difficult. Now, I don't believe Seattle for any reason is going to allow Russell Wilson to walk. It would be, I haven't seen one of the franchise quarterbacks traded that was in the prime of his career. Like, I haven't seen it. Go through NFL history. Like, I just have not seen it. People will say, well, what about Carson Palmer? Well, Carson Palmer had quit on the Bengals. He was like, I'm not going to play.
I'm going to retire if you don't trade me.
Right. So we just haven't seen it. I don't care what the rumors are. You don't let a Russell Wilson out. And it has nothing to do with the pay. He's earned that. He's earned to be the highest payer because it's his time up. How many Super Bowls Aaron Rodgers been to?
It's been to 1.
Oh, how many Russell been to?
Been to 2.
Oh, okay. We don't even need to keep negotiating then.
And the numbers, and by the way, last year was arguably the best year of his career. He was 3rd in the NFL in passer rating. He was 3rd in the NFL in touchdown passes. He was 3rd in the NFL in touchdown interception ratio. I think he's great.
Right. But this is the thing. You just can't do it. We saw Case Keenum last year. Didn't they give him 20-something million? Oh, so now Denver's got to throw the ball? Well, what Minnesota? We saw the guaranteed money to Kirk Cousins, and we saw them rely on Kirk Cousins, and what ended up happening? People end up criticizing Kirk Cousins. It's about how can I be the most efficient at moving the football down. It's not who has the highest salary. I have to use them more, because if I try to use them more, I put the offensive line in a bad situation.
So why do you think Russell Wilson went to the Seahawks and said, I want this done now, knowing the way the team usually does business? What do you think it is that he really wants?
Oh, I think it's
the system that he wants to play
in? Listen, we've talked about what the pressure outside of football at home for his wife, Sierra, who is a superstar in her own right, and living in Seattle is not ideal for her. We also know that the Giants have all these first-round picks. The Raiders got a bunch of first-round picks, and they're going to Vegas, obviously. And I think he is wanting Seattle to have the conversation we are having right now. Are we going to make him the highest paid player in the history of football, which I'm sure he will happily accept? And if not, would it make sense to do something no one's ever done? To trade a franchise quarterback? Would the Raiders give you all 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson? And if you're going to run a run-oriented offense that relies on the defense, are you better off getting blue chipper defensively and getting a caretaker quarterback? It's not what I would do, but I also wouldn't have run the ball with my running backs in that playoff game, 20 of my first carries for 31 yards. Like, I would let Russell Wilson be Russell Wilson, and it was odd to me last year that there's a gap in my mind, between throwing it 40 times a game and having him be 23rd in the league in pass attempts. Like, there's got to be a happy medium, and I didn't think they hit that last year, given how talented he is.
It's not like Russell's talented, but give me all these offensive weapons and everything that they're supposed to be blazing through the NFL with.
Doug Baldwin's their best offensive player other than Russell Wilson.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that's correct. They don't have a great number 2. They don't have a great tight end.
All right. Tell me one offensive lineman they got that's dependable.
Dwayne Brown's okay. Dwayne Brown, the guy.
He's okay, and they're paying him better than okay. Yes. Okay, so, man, you only got one pie, man. Russell's got to get a huge slice. Now, the rest of y'all need to survive off that, because Russell is the proven commodity in this, and they would be idiotic to get off of Russell Wilson. But I do understand. Everyone's got demands at home. Trust me. Trust me. Everyone. I know this now. I know this, but the business is operated and run. I don't see that family letting Russell Wilson out of Seattle.
All right, we'll break it there. Coming up, why do the Warriors continue to have issues with the refs? That's ahead on First Things First.
I understand. My wife